Sharon Wolfe is here, and I'm Robert Plank. And Sharon helps retirees who feel lost, irrelevant, or stuck rediscover their spark and matter again. She is age 78, and she's not about to slow down anytime soon. She transformed her own trauma into purpose. She's a coach, and she has an amazing book called Fresh Courage in Retirement, Finding Purpose, Essence, and Fulfillment. She's a behavioral scientist and life coach, and she has uncovered some joyful benefits for baby boomers reaching an age where maybe your ancestors have like settled into just taking it easy and boredom, but hey, we're just getting started, right? We're in this age where we might live to age 100 and beyond, and retiring shouldn't be about waiting to die. We should have fun and these stimulating, nourishing, purposeful, and transformative activities. Always be curious and have fun and be fulfilled. So Sharon is here to tell us what it's all about. So glad to be speaking with you, Sharon.
Well, thanks for having me. It's great to be here today.
Happy to have you. And so we mentioned you would introduce you a little bit, but what are you all about? What do you think makes you stand out?
What makes me stand out is I've learned a new term that, I don't know, I haven't actually heard anybody say it, but there's post-traumatic growth. I'm the model of post-traumatic growth. I was born in Anacortes, Washington, up here near Canada, and Mount Baker was off my back porch, and now I'm living where I'm the Olympics and Cascades are on either side of me, and Mount Rainier is gorgeous country. But I was the middle of five, and a lot of people that are middle children feel invisible. I felt invisible because I wanted to be. Yeah, I wanted to be invisible because there was some trauma going on. And I'm getting more and more impressed in a bad way about how many of us have gone through trauma in childhood. And mine started with having to let's see, how should I say it? Take care of my dad in the bathroom, masturbating him. And at a preschool. And my older sister was the main victim, and she did have a baby, my dad. So the trauma, I said, if I get good grades, be obedient, don't rock the boat, maybe I'd be safe. We all go through life wanting to be safe. And when we learn that at such a young age, I think often bad leaders, bad managers still have some of that trauma that they're operating from, and they're bullying their employees because of how they think about people. And, well, you know, they do have priorities and pressure to operate under, but to do it in a humane way that actually brings out our best is what we want. Well, it's something that I did a lot of reading self-help books. Do your listeners read self-help books much? Do you know, Robert?
Yes, they do, of course.
Okay. So I started out with Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Oh yeah.
One that I liked a lot that was a phenomenal autobiography, I guess, was Liberating Greatness. Okay, I like to think that liberating greatness is a good thing. Well, the guy had been in grade school. They thought he was missing a little bit, I guess, and kind of put him, you know, as maybe a problem learner. But it just took him a lot longer to learn than most kids. He went on to become a patent attorney. He was one of the early ones that seemed like that started studying the brain and how the brain can help us or hold us back and that kind of thing. And so there was a lot of amazing things he talked about. He's passed on now, but his name was Hal Williamson. I read his book twice. I enjoyed it so much. But I read Wayne Dyer some, and Jim Rohn, and on and on. Brene Brown is one of my favorite ones now. And in fact, I would often use, pick from the books I was reading. I'd pick out a nugget of gold of wisdom and put it on art blocks. So I'm holding up an art block that says, your vocation is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. Oh, what an awesome place that is when I'm here to meet something that you're hungry for. You know, that's kind of like baking chocolate chip cookies and you love chocolate chip, right? The combination comes together and it just feels wonderful. So that's a little bit, might seem like pie in the sky, but I actually held up this one last night to a lady in Singapore. May you feed a hungry world through me. I feel that deeply whenever I say it, because it's a last line of a gospel song by Bill Gaither. And this lady, she felt that in her spirit too. She was doing a lot of good work. And I had never actually had somebody get the feeling of that like I do, and like she did last night. But anyway, so what got me on the path just recently about post-traumatic growth is I asked my subconscious to remind me of what I was, the free spirit I was born with. Because that would be before the trauma. Yeah, let's go back there and like relive, at least in today going forward, the free spirit that I was given. What a profound difference that would make with people that are supposed to be leading people, managing people, and you do it from love instead of from retaliation, maybe, that you don't even realize is at work in your relationships. Another block that I made. Oh, it's my. I haven't shared this much, but I'm starting to, because this one is my mission to ignite the synergy between vision and relationships. And that speaks so much to managers and employees because, Robert, if you're leading a team of teen people and you've got a vision of the future you'd like to see, and I've got one about helping people know who they are on the inside and how profoundly important that is. But you have a vision and you tell somebody, okay, by the end of the year, we're going to have this and this and this and this, and it's going to look like this. And if you had the courage and trust in your employees and had such a dynamite relationship with them that you could trust them with your vision, you might then invite them to say, now, how could you add to this vision and make it more effective, more beautiful, more appealing? Talents that you don't have, or maybe have a little bit and they have grandiose of that same talent, you would be doing yourself a favor to hand it off to them, trust them with your future plan, and they could fill in the details and maybe elaborate on it in such a marvelous way that you stand in awe and they stand in awe by the end of the year that, look what we've accomplished. Kind of amazing, huh? So
yeah,
that's
many things are possible.
Yeah. So that kind of comes from some of that comes right after I retired. 3-4 weeks later, I got this profile in the mail. It said I was an influencer. Who, me? You should have. Because I had been that invisible person. By that time, I was starting to relate to the fact that maybe I still felt invisible. One, because I was having a hard time finding clients. And if they didn't know or desire what I wanted to teach them, then, next, move on. And I'm starting to now, 8 years later, becoming aware that people are wanting something different, and maybe they can help solve the problems of the world along with me.
Nice.
So I've been, in the meantime, while I'm learning and doing this post-traumatic growth, I claim that I'm planting seed because never underestimate the power of a planted seed. So seed has to have a harvest. And I'm on tippy toe expecting a marvelous harvest. When I go out on my walk every day, I watch what's starting to bloom, in the springtime, and when the fall, what's going to seed, or what's and I keep marveling at all this growth from the sunshine is free, and to appreciate all the growth. Now, granted, we have to trim some of these trees back and prune the apple orchard, and all that. But for the most part, what we eat, our vegetables and fish and livestock, is all free. And how generous, what a generous world we live in. So let's go from there, Robert.
Yeah, and they call that abundance, don't they? This idea that you have everything you need, you just need the proper configuration and focus and strategy and support system to make it happen. And so you said a lot of great things. I'm still taking it all in, and it's like there's the concept of the inner self that, back before you let life knock you down a few times, then you were in a good place. And you can rediscover that instead of letting all these other maybe bullies in life who gave up on their dreams or kind of trying to bring you down to their level. And there's like the generational curses, aren't they, with family and the workplace and friends. And some people, if they were bullied, if they were yelled at, if they were in scarcity and fear, it's natural to then pass that on. But we have these tools, resources, books, and people and mentors. And like, I love how you've written these things down that have helped you to kind of anchor yourself and to not just be in that bad place where it's like, it's so tempting and natural to be to. We can instead uplift ourselves and others. And you have this amazing book. You're a possibilitarian. You teach amazing concepts like an essence statement. So if someone says, okay, you're speaking my language in so many ways, right? I want to be better in the workplace. I want to be better in retirement. What have you discovered as far as getting things back onto the upswing?
Well, in fact, the first thing they taught us when I started coaching class, which was the week before I retired, I had seen coaching as a natural progression of my career, actually, because as a behavioral scientist, I called myself a facilitator of other people's success, empowering them. So I am very much focused on empowering boomers and retirees. They've got all this free time that could become a burden to them, I don't know. A lot of TV is boring or questionable on the value of it, unless you're watching the Food Network or the HGTV. What I watch is because you're learning from other people's experience. But the first thing they taught us, we had to come to class with a whole bunch of questions filled out. And one of them was just making a list of 20 things you love to do. Oh, 20 things. That's easy to do. Oh, wait a minute. 20 is a, is a long
Right.
list. Yeah. But I like to help people start there because it's just remembering, yeah, oh, yeah, I like to mow the lawn because I love the smell of fresh mown grass, or let's see. Oh, I love color. It comes out in all the little art blocks that I make. And I've got another book here that I haven't quite gotten the hang of yet, but it's called Fascinate. It's taking color to a whole new level. And I'm not sure I want to know that much, but I might when I have some free time. But okay, so another question on that when that first weekend in coaching class was, what are your values? Values? I don't think school talks to us much about values. Life doesn't either. Let's see. I don't know what my value. Well, we do a value clarification. What a difference that makes. So we take. I have a list of 50 things, words of wisdom. Values, and I added wisdom on it because it wasn't on the list. But then you narrow it down to just 4 or 5, and integrity is a value of mine. Responsibility, collaboration, and love is always on my list. But why this matters, Robert, is oftentimes when you're watching the news or hear a story and something riles up in you and somebody needs to do something about that, that's probably linked to a value. And if you don't live your life aligned with your values, it can cause you a lot of frustration. I have a couple nephews that have gone through some anger management classes, and I thought, if I could just let you know that your frustration could be tied to a value you're not living. But who teaches us that? Anyway, reflection, I think, is highly valuable. So another one was, what if some guiding principles? And that's can be related to your values. But, I can remember my mom telling me, where there's a will, there's a way. That's kind of a value, or let's see, another one was, like giving people now that it's the benefit of the doubt. That's what I'm looking for. Giving them others the benefit of the doubt. And something I've been saying quite a bit the last 6 years or so is we're all doing the best we know how. I've always struggled with my weight, and part of my weight challenge was I figured it helped me in that psychological safety factor, because then I wouldn't have to put up with catcalls and flirting or whatever. I've never been married, and I kind of haven't found that many good guys that were interesting enough. But when I started telling myself about my weight challenge, that I'm doing the best I knew how, wow, what a difference. I stopped judging myself, and it helped me stop judging other people. That makes the world a better place.
Yeah. You help yourself and then you end up helping others. Yeah. And I can see the value in figuring out these values. And a lot of what you mentioned, I'm all about that too, about some of these, like integrity and honesty and persistence. And it seems like when, like you said, we're not taught this in school. Most people don't even ask themselves these hard questions. And it's like, once you know these values, you know what triggers you. And then if you don't have your own values, then other people's values will kind of force themselves onto you. And this way, well, should I take action A or action B? And should I be friends with person number one or person number two? Or do we conflict, or are we compatible? And it's like, this is all important stuff. But I'm sure like it might be a little bit overwhelming, right? Because this is really deep and it's really sudden. And so I can see how, learning on a podcast or learning from a book is a good starting point, but you say that you do the life coaching. So how does this relate to someone getting like direct one-on-one human help from you? If someone says, hey, I want to look into some of what Sharon has figured out, do you provide life coaching services?
Yes. In fact, I'm kind of in the process of setting up like a 6-week program on Facebook where we do it live each week. I need some help setting that up. So I don't have a starting date for that, but let's start with my book. So my book, here's the color. I've got a colorful front cover, and I love to sew. I love words of wisdom, and I love color, and it comes together in my book cover. And explore the possibilities is one of those curiosity factors that makes such a difference about life. I don't know if your school counselor might have steered you in a direction for your career by what interests you. Well, that's where curiosity comes in. What's the possibilities? I, for years, got the magazine, Guidepost magazine, and there are lots of stories in there about what's possible. And there were 2 or 3 stories about like people getting stopped for a traffic stop, and they wound up marrying the policeman that stopped them.
Oh boy.
I still need to be married someday. So it's possible. Anything can happen. But let's see, where was I going with that? Okay, so reading my book, I did podcasts myself. I've made over 50 of them, and I tell a lot of the stories I gathered from my guests on my podcast in my book, because I want to help you think outside the box when it comes to what's possible in retirement. That curiosity factor, if you lived your life daily being curious, then one of those stories is about a lady. In fact, my favorite, I guess, is a lady that she was about 57. So she wasn't retired yet, but she lived here in Seattle area, and she had this feeling that she needed to expand her heart. Has that happened to you?
Yeah.
So she planned to do community service projects around the world. It took her a couple years to plan that, but she wound up feeding baby lions, riding elephants, and in a baboon sanctuary. That was a great story she told in there. But then she wound up in China in a college class teaching them English as a second language. And oftentimes they would use music as a way to have something in common and practice their English. And so the students asked her to sing Imagine by the Beatles. And she liked the song so much, she kind of choked up even singing it. And she says, okay. And she wasn't good at carrying a tune that much either, but they could relate to that song and said, okay, I sang it. Now it's your tune. Who's going to sing it? And finally, a young man in the back of the room stood up and sang the song. And they were all kind of next to tears because it was such a moving experience for them. But so I want to help you think outside the box. That's somehow helping people think jazzes me up. And so it's not your normal retirement book, but it's what's possible in coming from your unique spirit and soul, what lights you up. So reading my book is a start on that, and it is available on Amazon. and leaving a review there would be wonderful, if generous of you to do that. And then I do have 6 items on the platform called the Great Discovery platform, where I do have a free item on 6 tips to help you not get off track in retirement. Another one I loved because I started writing on was I was in the airplane coming back from Phoenix, and it's what makes your heart sing. You know, birds sing a lot, and what makes your heart sing? Have you ever thought about that? And I give you like 48 things of where you might start identifying with something that, oh yeah, I could do that. Like one of them is, a lot of people think that everything's expensive. Not really. What about you? If you're a gardener, what if you maintain the roundabout in your neighborhood? You know, the traffic roundabout things, you know, and just trim the garden or plant the bulbs, you know, whatever. But it could be as extravagant too as touching the water in the 7 oceans. That's extreme of what's possible, Robert.
Yeah. Well, you've met some amazing people and you figured out many secrets to life, right? And including enjoying it and getting some satisfaction and achievement and just being a good person to yourself and others. And so this book that you mentioned, it's called Fresh Courage in Retirement, Finding Purpose, Essence, and Fulfillment. We'll have a link below the podcast, and you can find it by searching on Amazon, Fresh Courage in Retirement. It's by Sharon Rolfe. And as far as some next steps, Miss Sharon, if someone says, okay, I'll check out your book, but as far as like website, social media, contacting you, where should someone go after listening to our podcast?
Oh, great question, Robert. I'm active almost daily on Facebook and LinkedIn. And I always give you something to think about. And I'm getting a lot better about posting my little art blocks that I've made, fabric art. And I am getting more, I have a couple people that love to help me get more traffic on my YouTube and Instagram. So I'm getting better about being focused there as well. And on my YouTube page, here's one for you. What's missing besides a paycheck? I've got quite a few people that have checked that out. And on Instagram, I'm Queen of Courage. So I just love inspiring and empowering people because I want to help everybody be the best they can be. I've come to realize that not everybody is interested in that. But, you know, with the right input, you know, through our eyes and our ears and what we read and see, if you're focused on the right topics and things that interest you, there's no limit to how much you can grow and learn and contribute. And I've started saying that what's inside of you, your personality and the things you love to do and your preferences, that is a gold mine. That's your invisible assets, not what's in your bank account. It's what's inside of you, your spirit, that makes such a difference for both your joy and your impact on the world. And we need people helping us all heal the world.
Yes, I agree. The intangibles and being a good person, and it seems like it's a matter of mental diet and exercise, right? What you can see, like the food you put in or the exercise you do, but it's just as important with your mind, isn't it? If you take in the bad reality TV versus you learn something, you read something that can grow rich, you watch some HGTV, you connect with a person, and then the exercise, like, well, are you always, do you have some goals? Do you have these hobbies, like this list of 20 things you want to do? Are you striving towards something, or are you just waiting to wither away and die? Well, that's a choice too. That doesn't sound like very much fun at all. And so you mentioned personality. Well, I love your personality, Miss Sharon, and you're so alive and bubbly, and you have more energy than some 30-year-olds out there. And the YouTube channel makes me laugh. There's like a thumbnail where you have like a blanket over your head even. And so you say that you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. And if you want to find out more about Sharon and her insights, her achievements, what she has for you, then we say that's Sharon _ Queen of Courage on Instagram, Queen of Courage on Facebook. The website is EffortlessVitality.org. And Miss Sharon Rolfe helps newly retired singles shine with authenticity. And if you felt invisible, lost, or uncertain after age 60, this is your space. At EffortlessVitality.org, you can find out about all these the program, the workshops she has, the coaching, the public speaking, the books, the social media, and so much more. And it's all there. And even if you want to text her or give her a quick phone call, that phone number is 425-877-6655, 425-877-6655, Sharon at EffortlessVitality.org. And check out some of these resources. If you're suffering, you don't have to suffer alone. You can learn things and take new actions to get new results. You don't have to be stuck and miserable with the brutality of life that maybe beat you down temporarily. You can rise above it. And so speaking of sending us off and making us feel good and sending us off on those next steps, it's time for the scary part of the podcast, Miss Sharon, where I try to stump you. I try to put you on the spot by asking about a fun or interesting quote or lesson that has served you. So what comes to mind as far as a fun or interesting quote or lesson?
Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite, and I actually saw it on the wall at work many years ago. If one has a talent and cannot use it, one has failed. If one has a talent and only uses half of it, one has partially failed. If one has a talent and learns somehow to use the whole of it, they have gloriously succeeded and won a satisfaction few people ever know. By Thomas Wolfe.
Very good. Inspiring. Fulfill your potential. Put those skills to use, and you can take these next steps by checking out her book, which we said is called Fresh Courage in Retirement, Finding Purpose, Essence, and Fulfillment. And the website of Sharon Rolfe, Queen of Courage, is Effortless Vitality. You go there, you can discover your essence and live with purpose, reconnect with that purpose, step into your power, and live with clarity. So EffortlessVitality.org. And thanks so much, Miss Sharon Rolfe, for just opening our eyes, waking us up, telling us about what's possible for in yourself and others and with us. And I'm just deeply grateful, motivated, and inspired speaking with you. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Let's do it again. Oh, and then